Welcome viewers. Today we are bringing this special broadcast of Meet Your Neta. And today my guest is somebody very special. He's not just a Neta, he's an industrialist, he's a philanthropist. He has served in both houses of the parliament. He's also a vice president of his party. He's a spokesperson and also a foreign policy enthusiast. Joining me now is Mr. Baijan Jai Panda. Sir, namaskar. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
How does it feel to, going back to Kendrapara constituency? Perhaps there was a gap of 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Again, you are back to the constituency. What is the level of excitement?
Well, for these 5 years, I have mostly been focusing on party work. As you know, I have been the party in charge for Assam, where we formed the government again. I have been the party in charge for Delhi, for the Mahila Morcha for the BJP. And now for the elections, I am in charge for the party's election campaign in UP. Now this decision has been taken by the party, and I'm very thankful that I've been given this opportunity to contest Lok Sabha again in Kendrapara. It's my old home ground.
Yes.
I have won a couple of times there with large margins. And I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. We'll also be talking about your profiles at Prabharis of these states. But first I would like to take this question which everybody wants to know, that ahead of the polls, there were talks of BJP alliance. Would like to know from you that what is the current situation on ground? Because we have been told that many BJP cadre, their local cadre, was not happy with this news of alliance. They want to contest election on their own. They say that we have been seen fighting against the current dispensation, and now we cannot join hands and contest election. What would have been your take or your opinion on that, if the two parties would have come together?
Well, if you look back to history, the BJD was formed back in the late 90s. With the help of BJP. It was an alliance partner from day one for a good 11 odd years, 12 years. And after that, we have been separate for the last 15 years. Now, the BJD has been in government in Odisha for a quarter of a century. There is a lot of anti-incumbency.
Yes.
The BJP has grown dramatically in recent times. Now, if you go back to the last election, so before 2019, the BJP was a distant third. Congress was still the second party. But in the last election, with the popularity of Prime Minister Modi, we surged and we became a close number 2. Now, further growth has happened in recent months. So particularly in the last part of 2023, the BJP has seen a big surge in Odisha. So all our surveys, the feedback from the ground, the party workers, the enthusiasm level is extremely high.
Okay.
And so what happens is, obviously there is a huge mood to contest. So the BJP is in extremely good position there, and we will win convincingly.
Okay. Sir, also talking about Naveen Babu, he has perhaps enjoyed maximum number of terms as the Chief Minister of Odisha, not letting any other party to make inroads into the state. But do you see that this is perhaps a right time? I want this answer as a politician. Do you think this is the right time for BJP to perhaps make inroads? Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha polls are happening at the same time. Then there is also a power transition that people are looking at in BJD at this point in time. In fact, sir, talking about the perception on ground, there are a lot of people from BJD, those who are joining your party at local level. You cannot deny that, and many are in the queue to join. This is what we have been told. I want to know from you: are you looking this moment, maybe this year and year in future, as an apt time as a politician to make inroads in Odisha?
So indeed, Naveen Babu has been a 5-time chief minister, and he has his own standing, but that duration also builds up anti-incumbency against the party, against the individual MLAs and MPs and its leadership. Now, we have seen that in the past 10 years, the BJD has assisted us in passing many bills in the Rajya Sabha, which have helped governance, but also the Odisha government has not implemented many of the flagship programs of the Modi government. Now, it's very sad that Ayushman Bharat, which is the world's largest health insurance program is not applicable in Odisha. It's very sad that large amounts of funding made available by the central government for Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana has still not been drawn. This is unfortunate because Odisha needs special attention for development. It has been an underdeveloped part of the nation for a long time. So the BJP intends to fully implement all of the Modi government's yojanas to provide a double engine sarkar in Odisha, so that the development we have seen in India with 250 million people being pulled out of poverty must see proportionate and rapid development in Odisha.
Let's talk about your constituency, sir. When you were not the MP from that constituency, you did make sure that you bring certain projects from center. I remember once speaking to you, you were rushing for a meeting to Rail Bhavan or I remember some ministry said that I want some projects to get sanctioned. We are having a review meeting.
Let me give you a background.
Yeah.
You know, when I became the MP for the first time in Kendrapara, it was the only coastal district in Odisha, which is the more developed part, which had no railways. And so railways plans had been pending for 30-40 years, nothing had happened. So in my 2 terms, I worked very aggressively. I used to have review meetings every month. I used to go and have meetings at the Rail Bhavan every month, on the ground reviews, and got the project final sanction, got the final land acquisition done. Construction started.
Haridaspur
Paradip Railway
project.
And my term ended in 2019. And within 2 months of my term ending, the railway line was inaugurated
by Prime Minister.
But it's a goods service. There are other major challenges.
Passenger corridor,
yes, it's a freight corridor. But there is the aspiration of the people of Kendrapada to have passenger services as well. So that's the next phase that's going to happen. And you know, this was a precursor to having industry. So Kendrapada also doesn't have any industry, despite the fact that on one side of Kendrapada is Paradip Port and on the other side of Kendrapada is Dhamra Port. But the infrastructure shortage was creating a problem. Now that the railways is functional, the time has come to bring in big industry and employment in Kendrapada.
So you are promising this to the people?
Of course it will happen now.
Okay. You're looking more confident this time, Aruna.
Well, you needed the infrastructure. We've got the railway going. We've got major highways built, national highways built there during my time. And now, with the development of the economy, we've become the 5th largest economy in the world. Many new investors are coming to India, both domestically as well as from abroad. And Kendrapada has become a prime location now, and I will push it and make sure that industry comes.
I would ask you, very briefly, very quickly, I want to know from you, the 5 things that are in your mind, if you will win the seat, what you're going to do and implement in your constituency. Because this show is dedicated to the constituencies and to the candidates. So I want to know, the people from your constituency want to know what 5 things you are going to do.
Okay, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
First of all, there are a couple of major Modi government yojanas which are not yet applicable in Odisha. They have to be made applicable. I have given you the example of Ayushman Bharat. So that is number 1. Number 2, the other major scheme which has not yet been properly implemented is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which is homes for the poor. And here the state government has its own scheme which hardly caters to 2-3% of the population, whereas huge amounts of central funds is made available by the Modi government, which has not been drawn and not been utilized. So the second target is tens of thousands of homes, pakka ghars, will be built for the deserving poor people of Kendrapada. That's number 2. Number 3 is the passenger services for the railway line, which having succeeded in getting the railway line operational and now having seen freight operations for the last 5 years, passenger services have to be begun. So that's number 3. Number 4, there has to be industry now. And now it is perfectly set. National highway has been built, railways have been built, there are 2 ports on either side. So the industry comes in and we will make it happen in this 5 years. Massive investment. So that's number 4. And number 5 is to translate that into jobs. So we have large numbers of Odia diaspora who are working outside. If you go to, say, Delhi, NCR, Gurgaon, you go to Hyderabad, you go to Bengaluru, Mumbai, you go to Middle East, you go abroad. There are large numbers of qualified Odia people who are looking for opportunities in Odisha to get jobs, to invest, to do startups. So fifth is to create jobs and to create platforms for startups, which will happen.
Now, I will come to his role of a Prabhari. As I told you in the very beginning that he's loaded with a lot of responsibilities. Sir, we'll start from Delhi. Now, new faces have been brought in. The old guys have been told to take a back seat. Mr. Kejriwal is behind the president. What is the roadmap that BJP has as far as Delhi is concerned? Do you think, and in fact, this is what we have been told, that you were sort of in support of new faces, that new faces should be given a chance. It's up to you whether you confirm it or not. But we were told that you were always in favor of giving tickets to new faces. Would like to know from you, sir. Delhi is still a nut which hasn't been cracked by BJP completely. If I talk about Vidhan Sabha and overall cadre and, in terms of popularity, do you see that this time around with the Lok Sabha polls around the corner, the idea is to sort of capture Delhi? CM is in the prison. What's the roadmap, if you could share with us?
So just a couple of days ago, a senior colleague of mine has been appointed as the election Prabhari of Delhi, who will be supervising the elections. I had been in charge for the last 3.5 years, where indeed we have made a lot of changes. Now, let us understand, this Lok Sabha election is about Prime Minister Modi and it is about the Kamal symbol. The vast majority of the 1.4 billion Indians are convinced that we need a third Modi term to redouble the pace at which we have been developing, to see this developed India, Viksit Bharat, for which Modi ji has laid the roadmap.
Okay.
Now, the candidates that we have had some candidates who had represented for more than one term, for 2 terms, and we also have need for good, strong faces in the state elections which are going to follow within 6 months. Now, we have very good faces, very good candidates this time, and again we are going to repeat by winning all 7 seats. And I'll tell you why. Because during this term that I have been involved, so we had the MCD elections, and we far exceeded the expectations. Where the expectations were that we'd win only 50-55 seats, we did about 104 seats. And our vote share, which used to be 36%, has gone up to 40%. Whereas the Delhi government, the Aam Aadmi Party's vote share fell. Now, in any case, during Lok Sabha, BJP enjoys a huge vote share differential. So, something like nearly 20%. Now, last time, we had a vote share of 56% during the Lok Sabha elections. With more than 50%, you were winning anyway. Now, this time, we are expecting at least 60% because there is such a huge support for Prime Minister Modi to have a third term. Of course, we don't leave it to
But how do you look at a decision of arresting a sitting chief minister when elections are around the corner? Do you think that that would perhaps can create a sympathy wave for him?
So let's understand this. When the opposition cannot answer the merit of the question, they always keep talking about the timing. Now, the reality is that the chief minister's colleagues had been arrested a year and a half ago. They were not getting bail because there is prima facie evidence. This is not in the hands of the government. This is not in the hands of the BJP. This is in the hands of judges and courts with legal procedures. Now, number 2, the Chief Minister, Mr. Kejriwal himself, was being summoned for many, many months. Now, this is a man who made his career on the so-called India Against Corruption campaign, who has always asserted that he will assist in any investigation and put corrupt people behind bars. But when it came to him, he did the opposite. And for months, he has been avoiding summons. The whole country is party to it. He has gone to courts to get relief, and the courts have said nothing doing. There is no reason for you to avoid investigation. You should participate. He has not done it for months and months and months. And now, election has come. He says, oh, it's election, so you should not arrest me. Look, laws apply to people irrespective of what position you hold. Laws apply to people irrespective of what time it is or which month it is. And especially when you have delayed the process. And now you are saying that I have delayed it successfully till election, so you should give me a relief. That's not how system works. Now, the India Alliance's parties are all...
They did a massive rally at Ramlila Maidan. And, your party gave them an opportunity to perhaps come together on a same platform. And,
I'm going to ask your viewers, let them decide in that India Alliance, Dulha kaun hai? Let them figure out Dulha kaun hai
That's his party's
in that
campaign.
group. And once they figure that out, we can answer the rest of this question.
Okay.
The reality is, they are all a motley collection of dynasts
Okay.
who have no interest in the country's future. They are corrupt. They have got used to the idea that they are above the law and that they can never be prosecuted.
Okay.
Most of them are out on bail or inside jail. Now, I don't think the country wants that kind of leadership anymore.
Okay. Sir, I would like to take a quick question on Uttar Pradesh. This is a new charge that has been given to you. Would like to know your assessment. क्योंकि उत्तर प्रदेश में तो सर ये चल रहा है कि 80 में 80 मतलब 75 सीट्स पे कोई कंपटीशन नहीं. तो such chatters, this is the buzz that we are picking on ground. What is your assessment? And do you see that this double engine of Ration and Sushasan is going to work again in the state of Uttar Pradesh?
So I have been very fortunate to have been entrusted by the BJP leadership to be in charge of the elections in Uttar Pradesh for the last few months. I'm very honored, and I was not expecting it. Let's be very clear. The wave throughout India, and especially in Uttar Pradesh, of enthusiasm for Prime Minister Modi is never seen anything like this. So the ground is all set for a huge success in Uttar Pradesh. The kind of strategies that our Home Minister and party president have charted out, the work that the Karyakartas have been doing there for the last so many years, has also set the ground. And then the double engine Sarkar, the very dynamic leadership of our Chief Minister there, Yogi Adityanath ji, it's become cited throughout the country and across the world for how a poorly run state can be turned around. So on top of that, there is the Ram Mandir enthusiasm and leher. So there is work has been done immensely. So we are going to have a record number of seats, and yes, of course, we are targeting 80 out of 80, because think about it, we have already achieved 73 seats in 2014. And in 2019, when the local big parties had an alliance among themselves, we still got 64 out of 80. And we didn't have all these other factors that I've just mentioned. So it is very reasonable to expect that not only will we have a new record far above 73 seats, but 80 out of 80 is a very reasonable target.
Okay, 80 out of 80 is a very reasonable target. Very last question, since you are a foreign policy expert, enthusiast, would like to know your opinion as a foreign policy expert, not as a politician. So there is this new issue that has come up for the state of Tamil Nadu, that there is an RTI which was filed, and in a reply, the reply was given that it was during Indira Gandhi's regime, a strategic island was given to Sri Lanka. Perhaps at that point in time, the reasons were cited that it is to increase bilateral relations, good relations with Sri Lanka. But now your party is creating a perception in Tamil Nadu that India lost the battle to Sri Lanka, and we had to give that strategic island to Sri Lanka to Sri Lanka. How do you see that decision of Indira Gandhi then as a foreign policy expert, and what is your take on this decision becoming a center stage ahead of polls in Tamil Nadu?
So, for the moment, let's put aside whatever perception there may be, and let's look at reality. The reality is that for decades, for more than 7 decades, the people, especially the leaders of the Congress who ruled the country, they did not prioritize the country's needs. They apparently had other concerns. We have so many examples. We have the example of giving up the permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council by our first Prime Minister when it was being given to us on a platter. We have the example of the Northeast being abandoned when there was Chinese aggression. We have the example of borders with Bangladesh and other disputes with other countries not being settled because of regional politics. We have the example that after the horrific terrorist attacks on Mumbai on 26/11, the government deciding not to take any action and wanting to continue negotiations with terrorist hosting neighbors. Now that has changed, but it is no surprise that we are now discovering such concessions have been made, and it's not perception, it's reality, because for all these decades there was not the idea that India first should be the prioritization of those who govern the country. So this is a new Bharat, this is a new India, and this is a country which is friendly to all. You look at how we have helped so many countries during COVID. Look at how we have helped dozens of countries with financial aid in the economic crisis after COVID, because our economy is the fastest growing.
So you think that was a bad decision?
My point is, these are not perceptions. These are real policy choices by our former rulers who compromised many of our national interests because of whatever other priorities they had, and that is just not on anymore.
Thank you so much, Mr. Panda, for speaking to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.